We're live.
Okay, gentlemen, how was Atlanta?
Hot Atlanta.
How's Atlanta?
I don't want to make anybody mad, so I'm not going to say anything.
Okay.
We're gonna start every single AUBADE the same.
But Keenan's segments are gonna be so small then.
Small but mighty.
Wait,
It was small but mighty. They were powerful.
Yeah.
Engaged audience, hungry, and that's the thing that I'm learning. I don't know about y'all, but I'm learning that the folks that are hungry are there, and the folks that are there are engaged. And everyone else is kind of like my 13-year-old son. They got it all figured out. Yeah. They're crushing goals. I mean, things that make you go, Like, I guess everyone out there is crushing goals, and there's just not room to grow. I know it is what it is, life, but y'all are dropping some gems. I'm learning something new every night. So Atlanta, they came through.
Anything stand out to you, G?
Well, the guy that got shot outside of the hotel.
Yeah.
I think that
Someone
was
got shot outside the hotel, and there was a fight outside the venue.
Yeah. So that
I
was
missed the fight.
Yeah.
pretty intense in Atlanta.
What were your thoughts on Atlanta?
Like the sweating emoji.
But by the way, notice last year at the same place across the street, they found a gun.
I found a gun in the grass.
Yeah, so we've been there 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I think it's.
And there's a gun involved every time we're
Is
there.
it time to change location?
Yeah, I think it's time to change location.
Well, and apparently, the fight outside was a gentleman that was probably half the size of the gentleman he was picking a fight with. The more interesting thing was apparently he was going at him like 3, 4, 5 times, and apparently then he threw a lackluster punch. Let's just call it. Anywho, he was the headliner from the show downstairs.
Oh, God.
So I'm just saying, where are we at? Like, someone needs to throw.
Let's sign him up to be a sponsor next year. It fit him perfectly.
I got lackluster punches all day.
Yeah.
I had the boxing gloves. I mean, shoot, he and I need to talk. What were your thoughts on Atlanta?
To me, and this is going to sound cheesy, it probably is, but there's usually one person per city that stands out to me. And last night it was Rhonda, who, she was just aggressively taking notes. And her biggest question was, how essentially she was making a career transition from retail, a little bit later on. And her question was like, how do I make it, basically? Mm-hmm. How do I get into tech and how do I make it? And it just really stood out to me, her hunger, how genuine she was, and how much she just really wanted to learn. Mm-hmm. And I just was looking at her and I was like almost envious of her hunger and her humility and wanting to learn, that she would come out on a Tuesday night and basically listen to people, just at the hopes that they would teach her something. So that really stood out to me, was that just that whole mindset and that picture of her.
She was definitely the winner.
Yeah.
I also got to give props to Leonard. He's an SDR manager with Limble.
Oh, yeah.
He was there to learn.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's actually, I do know. Sometimes leaders think that they're above it all.
Sometimes.
I'm giving the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And you
you
talk about humility. Just for him to have the humility to say, hey, I can lead by example. I can come out and learn something new, a different perspective on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And he stayed the whole time. He was engaged throughout it. It's just, I love that. That's what inspires me, when folks demonstrate and they act on that just growth mindset. And now it's, hey, what action are you going to take? I'm looking forward to seeing the results.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? I'm curious. You didn't want to share it. I want your honest, unfiltered thoughts. Atlanta.
Careful.
No, I know exactly what I'm asking for. Yeah.
Nothing you guys didn't already say. I mean, it was a small group of people, but they were super engaged, super participatory, right? Like they really, I sat down on the edge of the stage and just talked to them. They weren't afraid to ask questions. I mean, there was one dude up to the front right. I thought it was funny. There were 2 rows of empty seats, and he sat right smack dab in the middle of all the empty seats. Yeah. And then, almost like in a spotlight, he kept raising his hand, like he wasn't afraid to be in the spotlight. So I joke that Atlanta didn't show up because it was our smallest crowd so far. But to your point, those who showed up, they were there to participate. They were there to learn. So what do you say, small but mighty?
Yeah. And I'll give all of y'all observation. Even with a smaller crowd, the energy y'all brought, it was like you were talking to 1,000 people. And that's, I tip my cap because that's tough. It's tough. When you go from larger attendees to a small attendance, you could just pack it in and just say, I'm gonna go through the motions. But you got on the edge of the stage. You were even more engaged than you had been in New York, Boston, and Raleigh, and that's impressive.
I think you have to be in a smaller crowd. Like there was no way I was going to stand up there with smaller crowd, intermittent. There was just no way. Like you by me coming down and moving into them allowed them to move into me. You have to fill that space.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, I feel like when a small crowd comes out, you can't punish them by giving them less.
Yeah.
Like you should see it as an opportunity to give them more.
To be caring. To be kind. What?
This is going to become the new personal brand.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Or I don't care about your personal brand.
So
Okay.
there was actually a couple of people who had seen us in another city, and they said, you specifically, Keenan, that they had watched you in both cities, and that they got way more value out of Atlanta than they got out of one of the bigger cities. And so I say all of that to mean even though it's a smaller crowd, like to me, and I've taken that ego hit, too many times. My 16th birthday party.
Oh, well, wait, where are we now? Whoa, here we go. So everybody settle in. Settle in.
My 18th birthday party.
Last week at Starbucks.
But point being, even when there's a smaller crowd, like I think a really, it's just so on my parents. Point being, I think that it introduces a really great opportunity. And there's been times where it's held me back. And the only thing that held me back was my ego from delivering or like being present. Cause I'm like, well, this isn't good enough. And I'm like, imagine what they're thinking. Like, they're like, well, I agree. You're not good enough for me either. Cause you're not bringing. So I thought it was a sweet environment to your point, like it almost spread the weight of the participation because the group was smaller, equally among the crowd. So I thought it was a really, sweet environment. And I feel like people were just there ready to learn, kind of like my 16th birthday party because I wanted to lecture,
Oh, yeah, I bet you did. But she was like Sheldon.
Encyclopedia.
Hear ye, hear ye.
It's my 16th birthday. Everybody on your table, you'll see the list of events in the agenda. Okay, what we will do first is we will tell everybody our names. Hey, that's second on the list. Put that down.
13 steps.
Yeah. 13 steps to a great birthday.
Entire list of the different sizes of raindrops.
Yeah, let's.
Wikipedia.
This is AUBADE, episode 6 for Atlanta. We are filming it from my hometown, Dallas, in my parents' house. Where I grew up.
Casa de Becc.
Casa de Becc. Casa de Becc. Casa de Mimi. So that is it. So we've Dallas tonight. That's a wrap for episode 6.